Nearly 1 million years ago, a series of massive volcanic eruptions created the Leju Peninsula in the middle of East Asia. The narrow peninsula has a long, rugged coastline, full of diverse landscapes, where wildlife thrives. Both regular visitors and permanent residents. An ancient paradise, where land and sea collide. Although the Leju Peninsula sits in a tropical monsoon climate zone, some areas experience dry conditions with little underground water. Coniferous forests growing along the shores of the peninsula are well adapted to the dry conditions. These forests, in turn, provide an ideal breeding ground for migrating bee-eaters. This flock of bee-eaters has just arrived from the south. These woods, located by the beach, are their home for more than 3 months of the year. After settling in, the bee-eaters start their matchmaking. The ladies have all the control in this mating market. The gents appear to bring their dates presents. The bigger, the better. A colourful dragonfly looks appealing to this lady. And she accepts it. As for a tiny fly, well, you'll need to try harder next time. Of course, it's always harder to capture the big prey. A hungry bee-eater, after an exhausting migration, seems hesitant about sharing his meal. And feeds his own stomach, where nobody can see. Love will have to wait for this greedy guy. The first pairs of lucky birds are building their nests. The sandy soil is easy for the bee-eaters to excavate. Inside these new caves, with a beautiful view of the ocean, the next generation of bee-eaters are waiting to see the world. Just offshore, another family event is about to begin. The Indo-Pacific humpback dolphins is following the rising tide into shore. There is more food near the coast. It's time for these dolphins to hunt. The Indo-Pacific humpback dolphin is known for its pink and pale white color. But when a humpback is born, it's dark blue, like many other dolphin species around the world. As the calves grow, they become paler and then pinker. Based on the colors of the pod members, this is a thriving intergenerational family. These dolphins are permanent inhabitants of the Leju Peninsula, where the nutrient-rich waters feed their growing family. Before the tide has fully risen, the mudflats attract over 20 species of shorebirds looking for food. Among them, a type of small wader, the spoon-billed sandpiper, has just arrived from the north. They are starving and desperately digging for food. These critically endangered birds are well known for their spoon-shaped beaks. This unusual shape makes them more efficient at catching food. Competition is fierce, with red-necked stints trying to outmaneuver their odd-billed cousins. It's not easy for this one to snatch food from the spoon-billed sandpiper. He flees the scene with its leftovers instead. The spoon-billed sandpipers have flown over 7,000 kilometers to get here. From their birthing grounds on the Chukchi Peninsula. Mangrove forests help to create more vast mudflats. Together with the warm weather, they make the Leju Peninsula the perfect wintering grounds for these extremely rare migrants. With less than 1,000 individuals remaining, the arrival of the spoon-billed sandpiper attracts many photographers to the Leju Peninsula. It is an honor to capture an image of one of the rarest and toughest birds in the world. The tide is rising fast. The birds that feed on the mudflats will have to move to the inland woods for now and wait for the next low tide. So will the photographers. Back in the woods, the first bee-eater chicks have been born. Their parents have quickly switched from being lovers to being family supporters. In a bee-eater family, the parents take turns feeding their young, and while one hunts, the other finds an ideal high spot to keep watch for its mate. The hard-working parents must make their rounds several times a day because there are 4 to 6 children to feed. Luckily, they're not alone. The bee-eater community helps raise their young. Like a big happy family, relatives and other non-breeding adults pitch in to feed the chicks and do other household chores. The children are growing fast. Some of them have even become rounder than their hard-working parents. But it takes a lot of courage for these little ones to leave their caves, especially when danger is nearby. A pied harrier is circling over the nests. Luckily, the watchers of this bee-eaters community have raised the alarm. The pied harrier doesn't get a look in. However, a bigger challenge is on its way. At this time of year, tropical typhoons visit the Leju Peninsula. Some of them are extremely devastating. Soon, the baby birds will experience their first, but not their last, extreme weather event. The storms that ravage this peninsula are far less dangerous for those who live underwater. But for now, the Indo-Pacific humpback dolphins have something much more important to do. Mullet like to congregate in shallow water. They are the masters of swimming. Schooling in large numbers, they're extremely quick and difficult to catch. The humpback dolphins are here for the mullet. And they have an ingenious strategy for catching their elusive prey. A technique shared by other members of the dolphin family. They wave their tails up and down, disturbing the sand on the bottom, to create ring-shaped pools of mud. The pod works together to create multiple plumes in parallel lines. The sand walls built by this family of engineering dolphins stretch for hundreds of meters. The schools of mullet are trapped or confused by the walls, making them easier for the family to catch. The hunting has been executed with perfect teamwork. Meanwhile, another team, split across the species divide, is waiting for the tide to turn. During high tide, birds from the mudflats rest together nearby. These spoon-billed sandpipers have similar feather colours to the other birds. This is one of their survival skills, as they're able to blend into the crowd. Among this crowd, the Kentish plovers are one of the most cautious. They stay awake while the rest are taking naps. And any time they sense danger, they shriek and take off. It makes photographing the spoon-billed sandpipers difficult. Fortunately for the photographers, many of the spoon-billed sandpipers have bands on their feet. These are numbers that are attached in their birthplace, the Chukchi Peninsula, so that people around the world can help track and conserve these rare birds. The photographers are waiting to see an old sandpiper, number 53. Number 53 is more than 10 years old and has been visiting the Leju Peninsula for 7 years in a row. Spoon-billed sandpipers only live about 12 years of age. Each time number 53 appears, it might be the last sighting, which makes every encounter with this bird very special. It has been almost 2 months since the first spoon-billed sandpiper was spotted on the Leju Peninsula. And there is still no sign of number 53. The woods are becoming more and more lively, as some of last year's children have joined the community. These teenagers are very active. They follow the grown-ups and imitate almost all their behaviors, from throwing stones to drying their wings. In comparison, the younger chicks are much more introverted. Peeking out of the mouth of the cave, these shy children see the complexities of the community. Fighting over a perfect branch, for example, or being ogled by strangers. The little ones decide to retreat to their caves. They don't need to face the world for now. food has arrived as expected. Wildlife on the Leju Peninsula seek shelter. The mangrove forests surround almost all the coastline of the Leju Peninsula and act as a buffer zone to the land, protecting the peninsula from further destruction. The bee-eaters have their own form of protection. Their caves are up to 3 meters deep. The mouths are almost perpendicular to the tunnel, effectively preventing rain from entering the nest. Bee-eater families are safe and sound in their well-built homes. The storm has passed. A single humpback dolphin is swimming alone. It joins a big pod ahead of it, where a tragedy is unfolding. A baby dolphin has died. The adults are circling the calf's unresponsive body. It is almost a ritual. The mother of the baby dolphin is not letting go of its body. The other members of the family come over and gently nudge the baby off her. No one knows if the family members are trying to wake the baby up or saying goodbye. A humpback dolphin's pregnancy is even longer than a human's, and its lactation period is almost a year. This mother will have nurtured and taught her baby for a long time. It's almost certain she will carry the body until it has completely decomposed. The photographers are still waiting on the beach. No one has seen number 53 yet. Not even a single report from any of the stopping points further up the peninsula. It's unlikely such an old bird would have suddenly chosen a different route. The photographers are ready to give up. When a miracle happens. Through a scope, there it is. The bird everyone has been waiting for. The old boy has finally made it. No one knows what number 53 has gone through to get here, and what kind of perseverance it must have taken for it to make its 8th trip to Leju Peninsula. The breeding season has come to an end. many of the bee-eater caves have fulfilled their purpose. More newborns are getting ready to join the flock. Only a few of the most cautious ones still refuse to leave their nests. They need a little encouragement. Next year, the fully grown chicks will return to these woods. They will raise their own families and make their own homes in this sandy soil. The Leju Peninsula will still be here when they return, protecting its permanent residents and offering refuge to its visitors, as it has for almost 1 million years.